Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive. If you are new here, my name is Erin Chandler. I'm an intuitive guide, healer, psychic, medium. Sometimes I'm hit with something randomly in the middle of a day or when I've just finished doing something and I'm being told that I need to sit down and allow the information to roll through me. For those of you in the collective consciousness, apparently we are talking about fear. I'm being told that sometimes the information that we ask for and that we request, we ask from a place of wanting to know as if knowing will make us feel safer, more whole, better. Actually, that stems from the need to mitigate anything that might go wrong, and that is ultimately based in fear. I'm being shown banks. This is so interesting. I'm being shown banks and I'm being shown the pillars of the structures of the banks. So the giant pillars out front of it. And I'm being shown that all of the pillars, all of the pillars will be removed. We are not fixing here on the earth plane. We are not fixing anything because if it needs to be fixed, that implies that it is broken. And if something becomes broken, it is because it needs to be rebuilt. We are not fixing on the earth plane. We are not fixing what we build our foundations on. We are completely rebuilding. 2024 is rebuilding is already in process. 2024 will be a year of massive changes as we rebuild and being shown new pillars being built upon the structures of the earth plane. The earth plane will not be the same. It is important to note that everybody thinks that we are fixing things or fixing people or fixing processes. We are not fixing anything. If something is missing, it is because the process has been faulty. The moment you bring in the piece that has been missing, you will see that it will need to be rearranged, which means you build from a stronger foundation. You build with more pieces of the puzzle, or rather putting all the puzzle pieces together. Some of you are going to find in the next few weeks, 2 weeks, 2 months, perhaps even 2 years, that some of the puzzle pieces you have put into place, you have put incorrectly into a spot where it looked like it fit there, but it actually doesn't. That puzzle piece, it only fits on one side, not all 4 sides. This is the piece of the I am presence pillars, the 4th pillar of transcendence. Some of your puzzle pieces, the puzzle that is the I am of you, the puzzle pieces will be removed in order to fully erect all 5 pillars on the physical 3D earth plane. I feel like I need to clear my throat. So somebody could be feeling like speaking their truth is difficult. I'm hearing somebody is harboring. That's the word that I'm getting in the word that I'm getting specifically. And the word harboring is very intense. It's not intended as like a flow through word or a guidance word. It's a very poignant word. I'm being told, given with a negative connotation. So the majority of the collective consciousness is harboring fears about what will happen on the physical 3D earth plane. This is a pointless and senseless emotion. As we evolve consciously, they're showing me the collective consciousness that's inhabiting the earth plane at this time. They're showing me all of the individual bubbles that make up the collective consciousness. If you reference back to one of my previous videos, we talked about the spheres, how I was being shown each of you as your own sphere of consciousness, the house of self, the realm of you, the kingdom of thyself. That's your bubble. We'll put it in that context. Use bubble, says Ava. Okay. You are your own bubble or vessel. And yet there are 8 billion bubbles that are all in this giant sphere of consciousness, which we have labeled humanly as the collective consciousness that is inhabiting the earth plane or earth dimension in order to create, to clean up, to break down, to build up. I'm being told destruction. We need to talk about destruction. The Planetary Commission and the Ashtar Command are coming in, as well as Archangel Michael. It is important that all of you are reminded as things happen, as the waters flood, as the coastlines change, as you become aware of what is happening on multiple dimensions, Atlantis, Lemuria, all of the different facets, as we view our history from a different way and a different perspective, as the barriers that have been divisive between each and every one of us, cultures, races, genders. I'm being told about languages as well, the barriers between languages. I'm seeing all of the bubbles on the collective consciousness being segregated, and this isn't the pods that I normally see where it's for soul blueprints and the pods of souls that are coming in. So like the 12 houses of wisdom that are coming online to be fully recognized in the collective consciousness consciously. I'm seeing it as there's been black wall barriers put through each of the cultures, the races, the genders, the languages, the finances. I want to say the structures of the physical 3D earth plane. This is both intuitively I'm seeing this, but also logically it is both, and this is both in the subconscious and in the conscious, as well as the superconscious. I'm seeing the superconscious as your soul star chakra, divinely connected to the mother eye, the mother of all creation. That superconscious is connected to all of you at all times. As the subconscious, that's where the barriers are. They're showing me them as walls. There's a game that I'm being shown, and I don't know what the name of this game is, but it's like if you put the barrier of walls, it's kind of like damming a bridge, or sorry, damming the water where there's a bridge. It's like putting this wall barrier in, and it was intended to be divisive for all human beings on the earth plane, all those that inhabit the earth plane. These barriers have been put into place, and it's almost like I'm hearing riots. There will be riots. I feel like there are riots already. Forgive me because I do not follow any news at all. The energy of it is too intense, and in addition, a lot of the news is usually I'm hearing a morsel, a breadcrumb of truth wrapped in illusions, or an amplification of something to incite fear, to create chaos. I want to say to disconnect you from your power. I'm being told, all of you at this time, do not give your power away to anyone. Seeking or thinking that somebody else has all of your answers. AstroCynic, this message is for you, but it's for everyone. And your question of this, sometimes I want you to see this from a higher perspective, because I'm watching you and I on the higher self planes or realms or dimensions, however you wish to describe that. I'm seeing you and I talking about this, that sometimes we have a blockage, or that wall has been put down, that barrier in front of you, because your question is relevant for literally 75% of souls on the planet. Your question is an example of the exact thing that all of us experience on the earth plane. It is looking outside of us, whether it's to a channel or an intuitive or a tarot reader or an educational system or a boss or a company, anything like that. When we look to them to provide us with our answers, and it's an internal answer, it's almost like we are subconsciously, unintentionally, not realizing we're giving our power away to that person. I never want to take power away from anyone. In fact, I wish to do the opposite. That is part of the intention of this channel, and part of my soul mission on this planet is to recover, restore, spiritually activate your knowing that your answers that you seek dwell within you. Everything dwells within you, within your DNA. Just to share a little piece of this, on my journey, this became very, very apparent to me. AstroCynic, I searched everywhere for an answer to why I was experiencing the things I was experiencing. I used to get so angry at the universe and my guide asking for a physical teacher in the 3D form, and a teacher that actually understood the context or the concepts that I was talking about, or someone that could open to those things. And I used to get very, very angry about the fact that I could not find the answer outside of me, and I looked everywhere. Ava says, the purpose of that part of your soul journey, Astrocynic, is that your answer is within you. The only way some of us on the earth plane, and I can raise my hand to this, my friends, sometimes we intentionally go on a journey to seek outside of us because it is actually forcing us to turn back inwards. If you can sense those things, you are being called to re-trust yourself, to build a foundation of trust. Do not fix yourself. Do not look at yourself as broken. You are building on a solid foundation. You have to be able to identify the things that don't work. And looking outside of you for an intuitive answer, if there's anything that I have learned on my journey, and my daughter is nodding her head as well as my team, yes, anything you attempt to seek outside of you as an answer to the inner scape, your inner landscape, you will be redirected back to the inner landscape if that is the most powerful empowerment and knowing. We are taught not to trust ourselves, which means we do not trust our knowing, which means we effectively disconnect and give our power away to others when we ask for those questions. Astrocynic, your bravery in being vulnerable and honest is not only, I'm hearing, applauded, but I also have a child here for you in spirit. And I want to talk about spirit form on this as well, because I deal in spirit form or on higher self, soul-based conversations. Some of the things that come through in these channels don't make logical sense to us when we first hear them. Some people call me a seed planter, which means sometimes you will hear one of these channels and you may think it doesn't resonate with you or it doesn't make sense. But the truth is, what is happening, and a lot of you are actually doing this. I'm being told this is a message for a lot of you. You need to understand how this works. When you engage with people and you are sharing concepts, or you are just being your natural essence of your energy, you are touching energies and you are touching souls with everyone around you, whether it's something you listen to, whether it's something you follow, whether it is somebody that you have on your email list or you subscribe to somebody's email list. It does not matter what it is, including the thought and the focus. When you place a focus on someone, you are essentially sending energy out, and it touches people's energy. This is why thoughts are important. If you think about it, we all want to know what is going on, but the truth is that everything is a figment of our imagination, including this earth plane. Words are wands, says Florence Scovel-Shin. She says this ties into the figment of imagination because the words are the wands. The words that you use are the wands that you are inscribing into your energy. Truth be told is the card or reference that I'm seeing for that. You are writing it in the energy. So for example, on my journey, when I kept being disappointed that I wasn't able to find the answers that I was looking for, I was forced to go inside myself. I was forced to seek the answer inside myself. I was also forced to surrender. Surrendering is difficult. It is the opposite of what we feel like we should do, and yet it is a complete letting go. So for example, when we look at the collective consciousness, I'm now seeing those individual going back, says Ava. She's showing me now the image of each of us as a little bubble inside this giant sphere, which we label the collective consciousness. And each of the bubbles, it's kind of like, it's not that they're popping, but they're beginning to meld with each other. It's kind of like the concept, that's how I view energy entrainment. Sometimes it's also quantum entanglement, but quantum entanglement is a whole other video because I want to explain in logical, tangible terms quantum entanglement for your everyday experiences, because that's how I understand quantum entanglement, and that's how spirit and my guides show it to me. in order to help us move past it or understand it so that it no longer is something that distorts, confuses, brings us down. We can disconnect when we choose to, all of those things. But I'm being shown like two amoebas right now, this energy in the collective consciousness. I'm an amoeba and you're an amoeba, and our energy fields are touching. And sometimes when our energy fields touch the outside of our bubbles, some of them merge. So as we merge with the divine one, the flow, it is the same place that we go back to when we are not in the body. I'm being shown the pillars again. The reason why this is important is as things happen on the earth plane, it is going to look like chaos. It is going to be a very bumpy road. It's going to be on some of you personally, some of you in your towns and communities. A lot of it is going to be on the world stage. It is important that you maximize discernment in all ways, shapes, or forms. The middle path is important because oftentimes our perception of something can sometimes be attached to an old trauma or an old belief system. But in addition, sometimes our perception is colored by the lenses of limitation. It is colored by the lenses of sometimes rose-colored glasses. Sometimes it's the pessimist glasses. Sometimes it's the negative Nelly I'm hearing. Sometimes it's the Pollyanna. All of those different perspectives all play a valuable role. And this is why discernment is important. To be able to step back and observe allows you to release the fear. It also allows you to release judgment and make a sovereign choice. So Astro Cynic, I'm being told your question wasn't clear, but it was the wrong question. Ava says, don't worry. Everybody on this earth plane asks the wrong questions because we have been conditioned to, because we have been unwittingly, unknowingly giving away our power. It's time for you to take all of your power back and seek the answer within you. The moment you surrender to, I have the answer, this is the change of the words. Thank you for giving me the answer, Spirit. And you'll find that it just floods into you. Okay, now Ava's going back to touching energy. She says a lot of you are touching people's energy and you don't know that. Sometimes there are people you don't even know. Sometimes it's in the dream state. Sometimes it's, somebody in the office building that you work at or a buddy you go golfing with. I'm hearing you're touching their energy, and the groups of people on the golf course that are 3 holes ahead of you that you don't even see. Your presence and energy just being there is your consciousness. That is your imagination and your thought form. And if we are a collective consciousness, you are touching all those beings. To the seed planters who feel like it is a thankless job and people do not see you, and you have been, I'm hearing, smothered in disappointments, I wish to tell you that everything that you have done on this earth plane is more significant than you could possibly logically understand. Ava's like, more significant than my mom could possibly channel as well. Because most of the messages, other than light languages and things like that, because light language speaks to the soul and bypasses the logical mind for a reason, it hits the energetic body because we are based on frequency and sound. That's why you have the different hertzes that affect us differently. That's why you can use subliminal messaging. All of those things are relevant to this. When we are trying to understand things from a logical standpoint, things that would normally hit our energetic fields, the sound, the soul, the atoms, and the particles of our bodies, is going to be a different level of intelligence or information and frequency than what our logical mind can take in at any given time. So just know that what you are experiencing, most of you, and I feel like this is a very specific message for somebody on here, what you're experiencing is divinely guided, and it's simply you coming into a complete awareness of how vast your spirit is and how many places your consciousness can be at any one given time, whether you know this or not. This is also a very clear message for everyone on here. You are empowered creators. You can seek the answers within yourself. Change your dialogue to thank you for the answers. If you wish to connect with spirit, if you wish for a clear answer from your guides, if you wish to open up your mediumship, if you wish to manifest something in, instead of saying, I wish, I'm hearing, I really need a wish right now. That's a song lyric. I don't know what song that's from. So for whoever is feeling like that, you don't need a wish. You simply need to receive the miracle and the answer that you've been seeking. What you seek is seeking you. We are changing the dialogue, says Florence. Florence is really showing up for us. She says all of these things are interconnected. It is part of the 12 houses of wisdom. There are 12 houses of 12 individuals that are representing, which makes up the 144. They are based all in different areas of the earth plane. They're now showing me those walls, the barriers, the dark walls that have been divisive and dividing all of us here on the earth plane. They're showing each of the 12 houses actually lifts these walls and the barriers. And it's almost like each little sphere of consciousness is rolling into each other and intermixing. This is what the influx and kind of chaotic energy is going to feel like for most of you. Energetically, it's because people are coming online. It's a real mix. Remember, energy is fluid. We are touching energy even when we're not in the physical presence of somebody else. That is the nature of energy. It is the nature of consciousness. I don't know how to explain that in logical terms other than it follows all of the natural laws. So Florence says, for somebody on here who's been looking into natural laws, continue to look into those because they are important. If you follow the natural laws, you can't go wrong, is what she's saying to you. So whoever has been thinking about natural laws or it's popped up on your YouTube feed, she says that is a perfect place for you to begin discovering. The moment, Astrocynic, I'm being told to go back to you, the moment you say, thank you so much for giving me my answers, thank you so much when you open to meditating or anything like that. Thank you for showing me the way. Show me the way. You are your own way shower. I want to be very clear about this. The moment you say thank you, that automatically puts you in the energy of receptivity. We cannot receive the answers we're looking for, nor the abundance, nor the relationships, nor the job, nor anything we want if we're in the state of not having it. And I'm being told, somebody who listens to Abraham Hicks, keep listening to Abraham Hicks, because a lot of the frequencies that come through on there will help you. And actually, Abraham Hicks channeling is going to be slightly changing, or has already, I'm hearing, in order to open to more profound truths, because the collective is ready for it. So just know, if you are a follower of Abraham Hicks, you will notice it has going to have a slight shift and change and be a lot more reality based, because there had to be an influx of light where it's flooding you with light to get you into the higher frequency. And as it settles, as it balances out, we start being delivered more and more truths. We can accept those truths now without the anger about it, because we were flooded with light originally. This is a very important message. So first, we are flooded with light. I believe this was on an older video, one of the first videos I did on the channel. I will have to go back and look for that, and I will tag it in the video description box. But one of the things that came through on this was that we had an enormous influx of light and flooding us with light frequencies, because it's been so dark on the earth plane, because so many of you are generational curse breakers, because you have had to break out of the social norm and conditioning. That is not an easy process. We do need to be flooded with light after we get out of that kind of an exhausting journey. That is not easy. I want to be very clear about that. It is not an easy journey. It is exhausting. It takes its toll on you emotionally, mentally, physically, and yes, it does spiritually as well. So it's important to know that we were all flooded with light. And the reason that happens, to go from that darkness to that lightness, is in order to restore your original divine blueprint, your original knowing that we are all one, the original light, love, understanding, and consciousness. That is because when you dip back down into the balance, when we get rebalanced and truths start to come out, instead of following the flow of the subconscious where they get angry, it's like they all follow the crowds, the riots. Instead, what we do is we then shine a light on it and have compassion and flood it with unconditional love. Whereas if we had finished our journeys of generational curse breaking and all that dark, dense, negative stuff, if we didn't have that restoration of light afterwards, before we hit this balancing, we would approach it out of our exhaustion with sheer anger and rage. And that, my friends, would imbalance the collective consciousness to a point that it would defeat the entire purpose of the Great Awakening and the evolution of souls and consciousness. So having this understanding of getting truth bombs left, right, and center, Ava says this is important because some of you will listen to the channel but won't necessarily recall or remember anything. However, I wish to be very clear. And this is for you seed planters out there. Every time that you have planted a seed, oh my goodness, I'm just really realizing this came through as well during somebody's reading, a private reading earlier this week about her soul purpose and soul's mission on the earth plane. And it was very clear, this is for the seed planters. Now is the time for you to understand how your seeds actually work. We are going to talk about this in terms of energetic fields. When you touch another energy or another person's consciousness or subtle energy bodies, what happens is your energy or your words or your consciousness has it's almost like it's still connected to it. For some of you, this is going back to childhood. Your energy is still connected to their energy. The seed that you planted, your energy has subconsciously and on the energetic planes, I'm also hearing for some of you on the angelic realms, has been slowly tending and working away at those other people that you touched their energy. It has been sitting in their energy field as they move through their journey into their spiritual awakening to ensure that it did not get sloughed off. I'm hearing it can't be shaken off because it is of the highest light and part of a contract that you have with that person. So your energy has slowly been working away and helping different subtle energy bodies and consciousness of other people. That is part of the reason why all of you who feel everyone so deeply, empaths, that's part of the reason why you feel people deeply. It's because your energy has touched other people's energy. This is also how your aura senses things. So your aura's job is to sense different frequencies and different energies and to intuit, to compute it, however you wish to look at it. I'm being shown somebody's energies like the matrix, where each subtle energy field is filled with numbers. Numbers are important. There are sacred numbers that are codes to unlock specific energies, and all you need to do is speak them, to write them into your energetic fields to unlock them. I also am just being pointed out right now that I was given a list of these numerical values and the properties that they represented in the matrix or in the energetic fields, and words are wands. This is why your throat chakra actually is a divine expression. That's why we've all been silenced or conditioned to speak or repeat things on repeat that are not for our highest good, that are actually causing indentured service without any of us knowing. Wow, we're covering a lot of topics on this. I am just going to trust. I was told to sit down and let it just roll through. And I trust that. So to go back to the seed planters and you touching people's energy, it's sitting in their energetic fields until suddenly they're ready for their spiritual awakening, or that knowing, almost like merge with their energetic fields or merge with their subtle energy bodies. That doesn't mean you're merging with them in that sense. What it means is the seed that you planted can take a firm root. So it's slowly being rooted over time, but your energy, we're all touching energies, whether we know this or not, simply by focusing on somebody and sending them love. I'm being told to be your divine mirror. I want to be very clear for those of you, because I am acutely sensitive, when someone focuses on me or says a prayer of protection for me or sends me love, and yes, this also includes when people speak illy or have a negativity that is projected at me or come with a certain perspective, I sense those things. The reason why I'm telling you this, every time you think that you're having an experience and you're sending someone love, or you're trying to shield, or you feel like what you're doing doesn't have any effect or doesn't matter because you're not seeing it in the physical plane, I want to be very, very clear. Everything you do is felt in the energy. Likely have not seen it on the physical 3D earth plane, but make no mistake, it is felt in the energy. And everything happens in energy before it happens in the physical 3D. Now, because it happens in the energy, there are people who can not receive the energy that you're sending. So let's say somebody's sending you love. If they are unwilling to receive love themselves, they will not technically receive that energy in the way that you're thinking in the 3D physical aspect. However, when we permeate the grid and the network with unconditional love, divine power, divine wisdom, those things can literally start to clear those barriers and blockages. Ava says that's why the 12 houses, the 12 representatives of each of the 12 houses are going to be lifting the barriers up, the walls up from in between all the, almost like marbles, and they're all going to mix together. That's kind of the concept that's going back to. So you're touching energy, and when you send love to someone, here's a way to know if somebody is sending you love in a physical aspect, an emotional aspect, or a telepathic aspect, or thought forms, or anything like that. Oftentimes, and everyone will experience this differently, I've always taught for a number of years that your body is a barometer. It is always telling you yes or no. Your body is your last line of defense in terms of trying to direct you based on your spirit. Your mind, your body, and your spirit are all interconnected. Being in coherence means that all of these are in alignment with the same trajectory, which is ease and flow. That does not mean you are not faced with things that you struggle with or you have challenges you have to overcome. What that means is you are better able to cope in life. You are better able to tackle challenges and view them as opportunities because you are in coherence, mind, body, and spirit. When the mind is out or disconnected or on a negativity track or a lack track, that affects the spirit and it also affects the body, vice versa. This is why those in trauma have difficulty coming out of it. We have to address the mind, the body, and the spirit. We cannot just address one thing like it's just mindset or it's just the body or it's just spiritual. These are all interconnected. And yet at the same time, I also want to tell you, once you start working on one and you commit to that, it is inevitable that it will flow through to the other things. So for example, if your focus is on the body and health and wellness in that aspect, it is inevitable that your journey will open you up to a spiritual aspect and it will change that state of mind. So they are all interconnected no matter what. Some people do all three at once. Other people just focus on one and then it flows through to the other. So there's no wrong way to do it. This and that are true is what I am hearing. So just know that anything you're doing, you are on the right path because it just continues to further, and seeing the lotus flower opening you up further to divine intelligence, to the essence that is you, and you are divine intelligence. You are God. God is you. You may call it source, spirit, creator, whatever the label is that you choose to call that, it is irrelevant as long as you are in a state of mind or space of receiving and knowing that you are receiving. That's the receptivity mode of receiving all of your answers. I'm also being told that you who touch energy, you whose frequencies are consistently touching other people's subtle energy fields, you are going to notice these people popping up left, right, and center. You may feel like you are in twilight zone, that things look different when you wake up, or there's slightly different things. That does have to do with parallel universes, timelines, levels of consciousness. It has a lot to do with a number of things that are at play, and different people will explain it differently. I'm being told that it's not a bad thing that people explain this differently or understand it differently. And here's why. Even though we may all in the end come to the same knowing or understanding, like all paths lead home, each different way of understanding something will be best suited to a specific subset of souls based on their journey. That is why we have 12 houses of the original wisdom. This is why we have that. It's not about one wisdom. There are 12 that are very important, which will become the 12 houses that ignite on the earth plane. Those are the 12 pillars, We are 12 dimensional beings, 12 perspectives, all of those different things. It's important that we have those 12 houses. I'm seeing them as a circle. Each house has a representative of 12 from each house within it. But the 12 houses of wisdom, beautiful souls, there's a reason why there isn't just one. All of these different houses provide direct wisdom that are the pieces of the puzzle putting it together. So we have been denied that information as a collective consciousness, and we have had those divisive walls and barriers placed in between us, into layering as well over the subconscious since the beginning of, I'm Ava saying 2019 was the original channel for this, in December 2019. I believe that was on my Facebook page, if I'm remembering correctly. But one of the things that she showed me was, instead of it being like walls in between all of us in the collective consciousness, it was almost like she showed me it as the three. So the subconscious was so enormous and deep and dark, and there was a giant black blanket placed over top of it. And she was showing me that the conscious level was such a minute percentage of awareness and light and understanding. And then above it was the superconscious, drops of Jupiter in her hair, dropping gold divine wisdom balls of light. They were almost like mini comets or drops of Jupiterian energy. Every time one of the drops came down, and it came down to from the superconscious, your spirit, your higher self, and it moved through the consciousness, it then settled or dropped into the blanket, the dark blanket that covered the deep subconscious energies, knowings, wisdoms, intuitions, and truths. As these balls of divine wisdom and drops of Jupiter hit the subconscious, it melted a hole into it. And multiple people, 2019 and 2020, started to have all of these multiple drops on the blanket of their subconscious, creating holes in it. When you create enough holes, the integrity of that blanket or of that structure that was keeping everything clouded, elusive, or I'm hearing blinded, the structure of that no longer becomes stable, and it just falls in on itself. And that's how the subconscious stuff has been coming up between 2020 and now, and will continue to until 2024. Yes, the earth plane is going to have significant changes. There are many intuitives and psychics across the collective consciousness that are intuiting psychic information and knowing that there are landslides, floods, earthquakes, all of these and natural disasters, including volcanoes. You may be seeing the effects of them or the after effects, or psychically you may see them happening, even though they are future based or on a future timeline. These are all true. Remember, your imagination, everything is a figment of your imagination. If everything originates from your imagination, and nothing can be brought into form without the thought of it, and nothing can be identified without somebody perceiving it, this is how they are all working together. The earth plane is indeed changing. I have said this on multiple channels. It has come through. There will be many places underwater along the coastlines. This is in fact true, but is it not true? I'm being told the Ashtar command says, is it also not true that we are not fixing anything on the earth plane? We are clearing, we are cleansing, we are shedding the subconscious energy, the deep illusions, the disempowerment, the structures and the pillars that actually built a foundation that is in the, oh my goodness, that is not in alignment with natural law. That those are all being removed. So sometimes when we see an event psychically, it is indeed going to happen on the physical 3D plane to everyone on the earth. However, sometimes we see those as a reference of our house of self, and it's the chaos or the flooding that's going to happen of our subconscious, or the hurricane chaos energy. Sometimes that's referencing each individual's house of self, what is happening in their energetic fields. What is also true is, as within, so without. So let's say 70% of the collective consciousness has chaos energy inside of them, that will be reflected in the external world. Lightworkers, starseeds, mystics, intuitives, beautiful fairies of light and love, those of you who understand and surrender to the divinity of one. the one infinite creator. Those of you who understand that concept and live that life and know you are here for that, that is why this has been extremely difficult for your journeys. As within, so without. So that means if you have 70% of collective consciousness, people walking around with chaos in their energy and hooks and cycles and traumas, that is why it has been so difficult, my friends, to be on the earth plane. Not because the earth plane is difficult, but the Great Awakening literally is happening within each and every individuated soul that makes up the collective consciousness, which is part of the fluid Great Spirit. This is why every single person matters. Every single person. Even those from the darkest spheres of consciousness and the light spheres of consciousness, if you wish to look at the duality of that, all of these are extremely relevant. And when we are having an awakening in this aspect, that's why it has been difficult, because there's been so much subconscious barriers. There's been so much negative force fields, negative essences and thought forms that's just getting transferred back and forth to people, because we were never taught the foundations of energy fields, that everything happens in energy before it happens in the physical form. This is why codependency is rampant. This is why we often repeat cycles with people, because we don't understand our energy is simply transferring and bouncing back and forth. The mirror channel that was done for Blu-rays, the projections, reflections, and mirrors, you may find additional messages that describes more in detail the projections, reflections, and mirrors. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I would love to hear in your comments your perspective on all of this. It is a lot of information coming through. We are moving to the next level in the next phase. So this information is either intended to validate something that's been coming into your knowing over the last few months or last couple of years, or to actually nudge you. I'm seeing somebody's guide is literally like trying to push you or nudge you into this next phase, get you over the pylon, or like I'm seeing somebody running and jumping hurdles in a marathon, hurdle jumping. And it's almost like you don't want to jump this last hurdle. And Spirit's like, we're going to pick you up and put you over the bar, over the hurdle. Let us help you. Spirit is giving you a helping hand through the delivery of these messages to help you get over that last hurdle, because you are all here to win. I want to be super clear. And everybody's idea of win looks differently. Everybody's idea of happiness is different. Everybody's idea of what abundance is different. There is no one label for all those things other than the energy of feeling whole and at peace and in harmony and in coherence. It's about the coherence. I'm hearing, if you fall, I will catch you. That is the message coming through, or the song lyrics rather, that is going along with those messages. So please allow yourself, as Persephone came in earlier, she's coming back to me. She says, allow yourself to move. That means allow yourself to take a step. Allow yourself to release all resistance or procrastination or self-sabotage or self-limiting beliefs. Literally allow yourself to step forward. You don't have to be afraid. Allow yourself to move, and allow yourself to be moved by the divine, both end. The moment you allow yourself to be moved and take an action or a step forward into, I'm seeing the box opening again, Starseeds. I will link that video as well below. When you get this one thing, you begin to fly. Your spirit flies because it is in coherence, complete mind, body, and spirit with your fifth I am pillar and presence. So it's important for all of you to, I always say it's important as if, each thing is more important than the other. But in terms of that resonance, I'm being told, Ava says, Mom, everything is important because they are multiple messages for different people. So when you say it is important, when you say the next thing or you channel the next message, it's because that person needs to know, let me tell you, that's important for them. And in addition, the next person on the next message, when you say this is important, it's because it's important for the other person over there. This is in divine essence, all paths lead home. And all perspectives will lead into, again, I'm seeing the beautiful lotus flower opening and expanding, and these beautiful gold balls of divine wisdom just floating all around it in a calm, serene lotus pond. As always, beautiful souls, I am wishing you much love, light, peace, and happiness. Thank you so much for being here on this channel. I cannot wait to hear how you guys perceive any of this. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. Sometimes when we hear messages, it can actually attune us or open us up to another and new epiphany.